Michael. I'm not sure I know the person you're talking about, but I appreciate the introduction, and you're serving as my mentor and guide throughout this last year, helping with Rabbi Mader to prepare me for this role. I believe I now have a more complete understanding of the role, and from what I've seen, if I can be as devoted and diligent in my service to the sacred congregation as you have been, Michael, I will feel my leadership is successful. As Michael told you, I came to Rhoda Shalom for High Holy Day services in 1971 as a freshman at Penn for almost 49 years ago. Sophie Gordon, who was Rabbi Weiss's sister, was a member of my home congregation in Louisville, Kentucky, where 5 generations of my family, including my great-great-grandfather Henry, had sat in the family pew. Sophie Gordon suggested that I go to Rhoda Shalom, as she said it was very similar to the temple. And she was right. The service, the music, the old sanctuary at RS, immediately I felt at home. My family was always active in the temple in Louisville. Prayer, education, volunteerism, and tzedakah were modeled for me by my grandparents and parents, from whom I learned that being Jewish was not just something you were, it was something you strived to live each day of your life. About 20 years ago, after the death of a close friend, one of those transitional nodal moments, I took my annual accounting of myself at RS High Holy Day services and saw that there was something missing in my life that I hadn't had for quite a while. And I decided to return to my true self, as our rabbis say. I began to come to services regularly. And then after a while, I started to attend Torah study on Saturdays. Prayer and study, each in connection with others, entered my life again. Mike went through my CV in service to the board and various officer positions and committees, so I won't bore you with that again, but I became a board member during Fred Strober's tenure as president. And here I am, Hineni, I'm ready to serve you as your president. I can say that my natural trepidation about taking on the leadership now sometimes reaches biblical proportions because of the challenges that we all face. The whammy of a pandemic that threatens our very lives and a recession that threatens our livelihoods and the financial health of important businesses and institutions, including the synagogue. I am comforted by the fact that this sacred congregation has faced and overcome incredible obstacles in its 225-year history, including disease, wars, recession. And RS has always survived and thrived. I'm comforted that we have visionary clergy and staff who work seemingly around the clock to ensure that our congregational activities continue, especially in these times of emotional and financial upheaval. They lead the way and show us that our congregation's vision and mission, spiritual strengthening, education, caring communities, social action, and connection are even more important than ever during this difficult time. I'm comforted that this congregation has a strong board of directors and board of advisors who are actively engaged and continually lend their skills and expertise to the congregation that they cherish. And I'm comforted by our members who are engaged in all aspects of our congregational life and whose support is critical. Without the stressors of the current time, my presidency would be one that emphasizes financial sustainability. It is now more important than ever that we continue to take action in the areas that the board has identified. Growth and retention in membership, growth in our endowment, growth in facility usage, and growth in our special purpose funds. Each of these is being worked on currently by staff and lay leaders. But it's important to me that you know that I'm not being tone deaf about the financial issues that we face here at Road of Shalom. Of course, what is of utmost importance to leadership at this time is the health and spiritual well-being of our congregants. As Rabbi Mader has said, we need to lead, we must serve as an example, and vigilantly model appropriate action, and we must act in a manner that keeps our congregants and our greater community safe. But even in these times, we cannot lose sight of the financial realities that face our congregation. The most important financial consideration most immediately facing the congregation is this year's membership commitments. Membership commitments are vital this year. These revenues fuel our operating budget and are needed now more than ever this year as we endeavor to pivot and rethink all our activities. We understand and appreciate that there will be congregants who will need to pull back this year. But if you are able, please consider increasing your membership commitment this year. I think it may be important for you to know the sacrifice reflected in this coming year's budget that each of our senior staff has voluntarily made. Rabbi Mader has volunteered a 12% decrease in her salary. Executive Director Jeff Katz has volunteered a 7% decrease in his salary. And other senior staff have voluntarily foregone planned annual contractual increases. In addition, other staff members will not be receiving a merit or cost of living raise in this fiscal year as part of the budget tightening measures. At the same time, there have been no budgeted increases in the membership commitment fees for congregants at this challenging time. I ask everyone to please serve as the congregation's advocate and ask other congregants to support RS as their top priority, or at least as one of their top priorities. We need now more than ever to ensure the future operations of RS, the important values, mission, and vision of this community, and the voice of Reform Judaism in the city. Our clergy, our executive director, Jeff Katz, and our professional team responded very quickly to the necessity of continued connection without physically gathering. And from the very beginning of our Zoom offerings, we've seen growth in the number of folks attending services, Torah study, and other RS activities. There is a yearning for connection and spirituality that RS has been meeting in this period of isolation, and we must continue meeting that need in the normalized future for those who cannot make it to our facilities. We need to make live streaming one of the tools in our toolbox that we use to gain and maintain membership. Of course, these are new costs to our budget. So if you're interested in helping to fund this important project, please talk to me, email me, call me, send up a smoke signal, any way you can get a hold of me. I would appreciate it. In closing, I want to thank you for the privilege of serving this sacred community. During periods of uncertainty in my life, I've challenged myself by remembering the words of my bar mitzvah portion, Bashalach. The Israelites are faced in front with a wall of water, and behind them the approaching Egyptian chariots, and they're afraid. They complain. They want their old lives back, and they're immobilized. God says to Moses, "Why do you cry out to me? Speak to the children of Israel that they go forward." May we, as a sacred congregation, continue to move forward. Thank you.